Checking in with the Lima City Schools. They are back after Christmas break, and joining us today, Superintendent Jill Ackerman. And thanks for joining us, Jill.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so it's after the holiday break, and we're like at the halfway point now for you.
We are. So our second estimate will end here next Friday, January the 14th. The high school will have their semester exams. So we are already at the halfway point. It really feels like this year has flown by. So it's a critical time for parents, and we say this a lot, to really make sure that they're involved in the education. They're asking questions. For our elementary people, they're looking at Dojo, they're checking grades and progress book at all levels, and they're making sure that their kids are on track. And if not, that they're having conversations with school, and they continue to do those things at home to reinforce reading and math and all of those skills that are so necessary. So we will have our next round of parent-teacher conferences coming up at the beginning of February. And I cannot impress upon parents enough the importance of being there. Even if your child is doing really well, you still want to go and find out what's going on. What does their growth look like? Is it an adequate amount of growth for them? How can I help as a parent and be involved? And just really making sure that that you're just being involved in education and that you are aware of what's happening and what your children are learning.
Yeah, you might be like counting down to the end of the school year, but this is really still an important time, and you want to finish on a strong note, so just keep involved.
It's a critical time because we still have a half of a school year to go and a lot of learning to do.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and another important part of the piece of learning is your campaign this year, be to school on time and, attend school. And that's another push that you still want, even when the weather gets cold and things like that.
Right. So every day on time has been the mantra this year. I know that we got comfortable during the pandemic, and it was difficult to kind of get back into that routine of getting up early, getting to school on time. We've seen a significant increase in the number of kids getting to school on time in all buildings. I mean, it's been absolutely phenomenal that we evaluated that data after the end of the first quarter and compared it back to 2019. And it was amazing, the number of parents that are really making that effort to get their kids to school on time. So we really appreciate that. But it's important to continue. Even when the weather's bad, it's very cold outside, the roads might start to get a little tricky. We still have to be here every day on time. We want to feed them breakfast. We want to be here for them. And every minute missed is education lost.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of the weather, you'll get school delays out as soon as possible. I mean, you take a look at the weather situation every day, right? When it gets cold in the winter.
Yeah, right. And so we're always looking at it a day ahead. We're out driving in the mornings. We're really monitoring things. I know that it's cold. Today was a very cold day, but we have to have a point where we say, we still got to go. I mean, there's wind chill warnings. When those are issued, we're probably going to take some action. Pay attention to the Facebook page, sign up for text alerts. We put it on WLIO. So we just want parents to make sure that they understand that there are lots of ways to get that information. But sometimes our situation in the city is different than the county and the other way around too. So we're not always doing what everybody else is doing. And sometimes that's hard to understand too, but we assess in the city limits only.
All right. Let's talk about a fun time, a celebration of the Athletic Hall of Fame too. That's coming up.
It is coming up, and it is going to be held February 19th. Of course, we're going to monitor the COVID situation at that time to determine if we're going to be able to continue to do an in-person event. We honor teams, athletes, coaches, and contributors from Lima Senior High, Central High, and South High School. And then we also give a legacy award. It'll be a really fun event. Tickets are $40. They can be purchased online at limaspartannation.org. You can reserve a table of 8 for $320 and a table of 12 for $480. It'll be held at the UNOH Event Center with a meet and greet at 5 o'clock that night and dinner starting at 6 and the program starting at 7. So it's a great way to really honor the history of the athletic programs throughout Lima.
All right, a lot of wonderful things happening in Lima City School District. Jill, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, don't go away. New Edition continues in a moment.
Many people don't realize that even though